So, Leticia Ado, welcome to the Follow Your Dream podcast.
Thank you for having me.
Oh, it's such a pleasure. All right. So, in doing my homework on you, I came across something with respect to Fauda that I thought was just terrific. Okay. And that is, if I understand correctly, even though you were playing an Arab character, you did not speak Arabic and you had to do all of your parts phonetically. Is that correct?
Yeah, it is correct. And it was important as well for me that she had another background. Like she was half French, half Palestinian. And because I wanted her first to be closer to what I am, but also I wanted the character to be able to have, let's say, to be able to step out of the conflict because she was a doctor and I wanted her to be able to love, both sides and to heal both sides. But regarding the language, yeah, it was crazy because my mom didn't really, well, we didn't let my mom teach us Arabic when we were kids because it was complicated. That we were facing, racism and small things. But when we're kids, everything, gets bigger. So we asked her not to speak to us in Arabic. So we didn't learn. And I was born and raised in France only, so I speak French. And then I said, no problem, I will be able to learn phonetically, and I did. And it's a lot of work, but it's a pleasure as well.
As an audience, you don't appreciate really all that underneath work that actors and actresses like yourself have to do. I mean, we see actors and actresses wearing costumes and sometimes adopting an accent, but you would never think that you'd have to learn the part phonetically. That's just remarkable.
Yeah. And it was a lot of lines. It was 12 episodes each season. Yeah, it was like weeks and weeks of work. But, I did it in many languages, and it's each time I feel that I'm diving into a new culture and I'm getting closer to the human beings of the country, and it's like I'm traveling all the time in the world, or maybe I would say into the human soul, because when you know the language of of some different human beings, suddenly you feel closer to them. I wouldn't say I know the language, but I could connect with them in a different level, on a different level.
You had a character that had a certain perspective in the series. There was a conflict not only between Arab and Israeli, but there was another conflict in there with you and Lior, the star of the series.
Well, the conflict we had happens at let's say the end. I mean, at the beginning, we fall in love, which is some kind of conflict as well, not a nice conflict. But the fact that he's kind of betraying me because I don't know who he really is it's subject of all the I would say the Fauda, the meaning of the word. It means chaos.
Yes.
Which is also in Hebrew balagan. And so we were saying that all the balagan or all the Fauda starts here.
So I'm just curious. I've asked this question of other actors and actresses that have been in series. As you're in the middle of the series, do you know where the plot is going? Do they tell you, or are you surprised just like the audience?
Well, you would be more than surprised by my answer to this question. The thing is, Fauda was a very small budget, and they didn't have any money to translate the episodes for me. So actually, at the beginning, they wanted an actress from the country. As they say, it's a local hire. And I was not. So I had to, go there by myself and say that, okay, I'm here. I can audition for that part. But the problem is they said, but we're not able to translate the 12 episodes to you. So we have to be on a confidence, on a trust level together. And I asked them to tell me what was going to happen in the show. and I was not able to read anything because the scripts were in Hebrew and Arabic only, both languages, but not English. So I only had my lines translated, and I didn't even know that, the next scene or the scene before the scene I was acting in, I had no idea what was happening. So, I mean, at one point, I'm talking about. I'm trying not to spoil anything. If someone wants to watch the series, but at one point, I didn't know I was talking about someone very close to me that was dead. I didn't know, but I didn't know as an actress. And then so I play the scene and I talk about this person and blah blah blah. And like 15 minutes later, they're shooting another scene, and I try to understand, because they speak Hebrew mainly, and sometimes English because I'm here, and I'm like, wait a minute, is he dead? And I didn't know. But it's amazing because it allows me to be totally fresh and natural, and because I don't know. So
Would you have played the scene differently if you had known?
well, it's a danger, it's a risk. Like I'm trying not to, because the way I act is, I really try to be the purest channel, and not to expect anything, not to prepare, not to anticipate things, and to be receiving what the other actor is giving me. So I'm not supposed to be knowing things, but when your brain heard that someone is dying, you know it. So I think it would be maybe slightly different, but not much. But still, it was fascinating to discover things after it's shot.
I can imagine. All right, I got one more Fauda question, and that is, this became an international blockbuster. I mean, it may have been done on the cheap, like you were saying, but it's become such a gigantic series. Did you ever think, as you were doing it, that it was going to break out like this?
No, because at the very beginning, we've been told when we were auditioning that, it's going to be a cable TV series. It can be a big one, but still like a cable thing, not a main channel in Israel. And of course, we didn't expect Netflix to be number one in, they said 190 territories, which means like, pretty much everywhere.
Pretty much everywhere is right.
Big surprise as well about Arab countries, because I didn't know if, they would watch it, and they did. And I'm receiving messages from all over the world. And it's like, I mean, it's been like more than 5 years that I'm not in the series anymore. And I'm receiving messages every day.
Wow.
So it's crazy. I'm receiving messages from Brazil, Argentina, China, India. India, oh my God, it's such a big hit there. And it's the first ever country which was allowed to make a remake of Fauda.
With Indian characters, you mean? Or
yeah. There is an Indian, Shireen. It's so funny. But they have different names. And the actress reached out to me. She said, "I'm so proud and so happy to be able to play your character." And it's just crazy.
All right. I want to know one thing though. Do they do a whole Bollywood dance kind of thing at the end of that?
I don't think so. I don't know. But what I know is that I'm a few steps away from acting in an Indian movie. Like, I've been offered many parts, and we said no until now because the projects were not, I don't know, matching our expectations. But there is one that I'm waiting for, and it's, yeah. And also the director of the series, Rotem Shamir, of season 2 and 3 and 4. He directed a movie there recently.
Well, listen, there's 1.5 billion people in that country.
Crazy.
So you got a gigantic audience. Things like Fauda and all the other movies and things that you're in, I'm sure that they travel around the world.
Yeah, they do.
All right. So tell us about Liaison. How was that?
So it was very special for me because I can say it was the first time ever that I felt legitimate on set, which I know can sound weird, But after Fauda, I had a huge success, and many doors opened up for me. And Liaison is one of them. Terrence Malick is one of them, which is totally crazy and huge. But suddenly in Liaison, it was the first big project after Fauda. I mean, a very big one. And suddenly I was feeling that, okay, I'm allowed to be here. I'm allowed to have like a huge part and to be playing with Evergreen, which is an amazing person and a friend now, and Vincent Cassel, who is a big star in France. And I was amongst them, and I was feeling all right. So it can seem, a small thing, but for me, it was a big step to feel that I worked hard enough to be able now to just be here and enjoy and do my work.
So you became an overnight star as a result of Fauda, huh?
Well, something happened. Clearly, it changed. I mean, it's like all my efforts for years and years, and it's been a long time. Suddenly, were how do you say in English? Do you say that they pay off?
Yes, big
Yeah.
payoff. Well, look, you deserved it. Your part was remarkable. You navigated the nuances of that part. And again, an audience doesn't appreciate as much how much work goes into being a creative person, an actress like yourself. I'm sure you spent years toiling kind of role to role, and then you got your big break and you took advantage of it.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, it takes a lot of courage to be rejected, let's say 99 times on 100. Like 2 years ago, I think I auditioned 55 times.
Mm.
It's crazy. And I fit the part 3 times or 4 times. And I've on the 4, I think I've been offered 3 of them, which is a lot now, because suddenly when you got offered, parts, it's like, whew, paradise. And I was accepted for maybe 1 or 2. So it's a huge amount of work, and a lot of actors don't say it because I don't know why, but I think it's important because nowadays a lot of young people want to, they dream about fame and about being a singer, an actor, and they forget that it's so much work. So you have to be passionate and to know why you want to do it.
Well, not only is it work, but like you just said, you have to be able to deal with rejection because there's always rejection along the way.
Yeah, I mean, it's part of well, it's part of life, I would say, because it's sometimes, when a door is closed, it's because another one is going to open up, and you have to stay, just open to the idea that it's fine and you were not, rejected, but it's just a redirection. But sometimes it's painful.
So at this point, do you have the ability to kind of choose your roles?
You mean now?
Yes.
Yes, and actually, I would say that I always did. Because for years I said no to things that I was seeing my friends saying yes to things, and I was like, no. And I have to say, I mean, I was really doing a lot of small jobs, like crazy things, just in order to just to live.
Just to keep working.
Yeah, because I wanted to do quality things as an actress. So I was able I worked on sets, like on set design, production, assistant director, like anything I could do to be able to say no to low quality projects. I mean, in my opinion, it was not what I wanted to do. And I said, I want lead parts that I'm passionate about, and I'm going to fight for them. So because I was having a hard time to get them in France, in my own country, I just turned my head, to the other countries around. So it was Spain, Algeria, Israel. What did I do? Crazy projects. But suddenly I had lead parts. So from these ones, which were often in different languages. So it was hard, but it was really fascinating. And suddenly it led me to Fauda and then to everything I did after that. So I'm not regretting that. I was very cautious, and maybe I took some risks to say no, but I don't regret that.
Well, it's all worked out for you so far, and it should work out for you because you're a terrific actress. Tell me about Chief of Station with Aaron Eckhart. This is another spy thriller. Do you feel like you got at all, settled into that kind of genre because of Fauda, or was that?
I don't know. I mean, the spy thriller is it's the first one I do after Fauda. It's this one, Chief of Station. But I'm trying also to say no to things when I feel that I'm going to be, like put in a box. Like, for instance, because I was a doctor in Fauda, suddenly everybody was wanting me to play a doctor. And I was like, oh, I'm going to say no to that. But it was hard. It's always hard to say no to work. But for this one, Chief of Station, it was with Aaron Eckhart, who's just a phenomenal actor. And I was so honored to play with him. I was playing his wife, his young wife, because he was like, you will see the movie. But he's very intense. I mean, you've seen him in Erin Brockovich in his young years, and in Batman. How do you call him in English? Double face, double. I forgot his name. Like he's
Sure.
like totally destroy on one side, and anyway, Aaron Eckhart, you know him. So it was for me very exciting suddenly to go to this level of acting, and yeah, he's a star. So I was happy.
And the good news is you didn't have to act phonetically.
No. No, this one was in English. It was fine. I just had to work a bit on my accent too. Like I always improve my English accent when it comes to really playing, a part. I work with a dialogue coach to really, make my accent more, I don't know, better.
Are you more comfortable though if you are playing something in French?
So, funnily enough, no, it's harder in French.
Interesting. Why?
Yeah, because it's like in Fauda with Lior Raz playing Doron. He's not able to speak Arabic fluently, and I'm not. So when you focus on the lines so much that you don't want to make any mistake and you want to be very precise, and suddenly everything that is usually trying to, how do you say, like to, okay, the little voice in your head?
Yes.
That is saying like, you're not good enough, or the camera is here, and everything goes away because you only have to focus on the lines. So this is what happens when you play in different language, because you have to be very focused. But in French, I'm like, okay, so I know the lines, it's easy, and this one is looking at me weirdly, and maybe I'm not, no, I don't know, my makeup. So there is room for other thoughts. Whereas when you speak in a different language than your mother tongue, you have no room for anything else. And Doron and Shirin were connected by a very strong energy, also because we were focusing on the other's lines very much to be sure we understand each other. So it was a challenge.
Well, again, it's a wonderful series, and your role in that is just spectacular. You really kind of bridge the gap, if you will, between the Arabs and the Israelis in that, and it's all about conflict. What is next for you? What do you want to do after the things that are on your plate now? Where do you want to go with your career?
So nothing else comes to my mind than what I'm going to say. I wanted to, try to find some roles, but the things I'm obsessed with right now is to become the artist I've always been. So I'm writing and I'm doing a lot of things since I'm a kid. And I put everything aside, and it was really painful for so many years in order to put all my energy in one thing and to be an actress and to build a career. But something inside of me is really suffering because it's not enough. And I want to sing, I want to write, I want to direct. And I always wanted that. So even before the acting school, I went to a film school to direct. And then they said, but you're 19 and you should just live and be an actress. And then when you will have had experienced life, sorry for the past tense, when you know life, come back and direct. So I listened to the advice, and now it's time. It's really time. So I'm writing scripts. I have almost one album ready, like songs. The other thing is I'm not working alone at all in music, because I need to be surrounded by musicians and people who I trust. So I found them, but I'm still working on the album. And about the movies, it's in progress as well, but same thing. I'm step by step. I'm between each movie I'm acting in, I'm going back to my creations. It's really, yeah, I need that.
Well, I referred to you earlier as a powerhouse actress, and it looks like you're a powerhouse director and musician and singer and everything else. Remarkable. We have been speaking here with Leticia Ado, a wonderful actress, one of the stars of Fauda, one of the great series. Leticia, I want to thank you so much for being on this podcast.
Thank you. And thank you to Howard Kaplan to put us in touch. It was a great pleasure, really.